all. So what everybody wants to hear, especially this time of year, is the lake level. So it's negative 11 inches right now. The rainfall is 1.06 inches for September, and the total this year is 21.66 inches, which the total rainfall is actually less than it was last year. So I was just telling Brian Miller earlier, I was going through, I'm not a Facebook person, there's so much negativity on there, I can't stand it. But I was going through TikTok last night, and this family was showing they live next to the river on the Maumee, and they were showing how the Maumee River looks right now. So I went and started doing a little research, actually found a couple newscasts, and we think it's bad here. Man, oh man. That river, I have never seen it that bad. They said there's actually record low water flow going through there, and it's the driest on record that the Maumee River has been. So we're in a pretty serious drought right now. Well, let's go back. Let's get into the more positive stuff. So we're going to do a little bit of a wrap up for Grand Lake 2025 so far. And as I'm driving here, I've started thinking about stuff that I missed that I didn't put on here. So I don't know. Usually we do one in December. Maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do another one and add some more stuff in, because there's some capital improvement projects that I would like to key in on, and I need to get authority to release that information as well. So here we go. So here's for 2025, the stuff that's happened this year for the campgrounds. So this year we started a weekend food truck. Before, our camp host would do something, whether it was coffee and donuts or sausage, gravy, and biscuits. He'd do all kinds of different things. But the problem was it wasn't consistent, and even when they did it, it was the same thing every weekend. And I've been getting plenty of phone calls about food trucks wanting to come to the campground. So what we did was we actually went out and sent messages to different food trucks and tried to get a different food truck every weekend. And we're going to continue to do this. I think it has gotten a little weird because there's a couple vendors that they didn't make enough money, so they felt that they just shouldn't have to pay. But we had Schmidt's sausage 3 different times on Fridays. Meats and Movin', that I think we had 4 different weekends. Little Piggy's, Sizzlin' Johnny's, Two Dad's Chicken, Buckeye Ice Cream, Peyton's Kitchen, and Jay's Lip Smackin' Wings. We added 2 more docks in the campground. And if you'd been back there, basically what happened was the ice had ruined those 2 docks and bent the H-beams up. So I was able to get Shen Brothers out and drive those H-beams and get 2 more docks back in there. And we also, with the help of ODOT, we finished crack sealing all the cracks in the campgrounds, trying to preserve the blacktop until it can get repaved. But hopefully this is something that we'll just do every probably 2 to 3 years, just to try and preserve the asphalt. There's some more projects here. We had to rebuild the pool pump, the splash pad pump twice. Constant fixing of leaks in that splash pad system. It's amazing. Of course, you've got the pressurized system and you got the drain lines, but it's amazing how much water you can lose. And with a 500-gallon tank, trying to keep those chemicals that people are safe in that is amazing. And then the ones that just really blow my mind is the cracks in the concrete and how much water that goes down those cracks. We also repainted the camp store, both inside and out, and hired a new camp coordinator too. And we removed 3 hazardous trees. And you can also see the group camp fire ring there, which is really cool. Fall Festival, we had 82 vendors, 16 food trucks, local marinas. You can read them. Oh, maybe you can't. Which was Cozy, Bayview, Lakeshore, the Boathouse, and the Outdoorsman. We're all invited, and the majority of them actually set boats up out there. And we also had first responders from St. Mary's Township, the ODNR officers, Auglaize County, and Division of Wildlife, and the City of St. Mary's. It was a cool weekend, the best attended so far, and we got to the point actually that on Saturday, after I left here, I went right back and started parking cars. We got to the point that we had no place to park people. The entire campground that we could get people in without sending them all the way to the back and parking there by the boat docks. Everything right up front was completely full, and I was actually directing people to park down by the sailboat club because we were out of room completely. So it's a good problem to have until on Sunday when I was parking and Byron Frank goes, "Hey, this is all good, but what happens if we have a wet year?" I'm like, "Oh, don't even say that. We'll just forget that even happens." Halloween campouts going on this weekend. They've got all kinds of different games for the kids. Spooky Putt-Putt was last night, and basically what they do is they take old beat up taxidermy animals and then put those on each hole and let the kids putt through them. Costume judging today, campsite judging was last night, and today, as soon as I leave here, going back and helping with, they put out 1,200 sack lunch, which is very similar to what Jeff does with the kids fishing derby, like a bag of chips, hot dogs, pop, and the Fall Festival is what helps fund that. But you think they feed every person in that campground today for lunch. Some continued issues that we were working with, and if anybody has any ideas, I am all ears. Ruts in the campground, people getting off the pads and making big nasty messes that this time of year are a real problem, because once those ruts dry up, now they're trip hazards essentially. People messing with trees, stripping bark off of them, driving stuff in them and killing them. This is a tree that Brian Miller had planted, I think 2015. That tree 2 weeks before that was just fine. Go back and look at that tree, and somebody drove copper nails in that tree. For what reason, I have no idea, but if you know anything about copper, it kills stuff. Another issue we have is we have recycling dumpsters, and I think you can see the recycle sign on there. It's about this big around, and people throwing garbage in there. And the problem there is that means we physically have to go into those dumpsters and pull the trash out of them, because they will not dump those dumpsters if they have garbage in them. So you have any ideas, I'm all ears. Please come tell me. Okay, now our day use areas. The LA sponsored projects. They gave us picnic board tables, or picnic boards for picnic table. Yeah, whatever. We tried something new. One of the problems that we have in our shelter houses is people will actually take the picnic tables out of the shelter houses and drag them around. to different areas. So when Rob and Jeff got together, they came up with the idea of ordering longer boards, because usually Jeff actually has them cut to length for us, and we made these picnic tables twice as long, and they are not very easily moved. So far this year, we have not had one of those new picnic tables go outside of the shelter house. And of course, Brian talked earlier about the playground. This is a huge deal to me. This is the first playground that's ever been installed at West Bank. And I think ever since it's been installed, Brian has a monthly update of how many kids he sees playing on this playground. So I think the need was definitely there, and it's a huge blessing that the LIA and yourselves actually helped support and get this playground purchased and installed. A huge asset for West Bank area. Kids Fishing Derby, I think Jeff wrapped that up really good. It is my personal favorite every year. There is nothing makes my heart warmer, feel more warm, than at the end of the day cleaning up from that project and all those kids that probably would never have the opportunity to go fishing and enjoy the outdoors. I'm not sure who started this program, but they need commended. I love it. Installed more signs. Those of you who know me well, they know that I love signs. Not so much. But we've installed 25 new Keep What Matters Afloat signs all over the park. There's 3 different kinds of them. And we added 4 new progressive signs. So Progressive works with Ohio State Parks. I'm sure you've seen on the lake. They buy buoys for us. I'm sure you've seen the life jacket loaner stations. They purchase all the materials and the life jackets for those too. So here's one of the life jacket loaner stations. This is the one at Little Chick. We also have one at West Bank and East Bank. Red Wing Trail. So I am all things wetlands. I love these things. I love these treatment trains. I love our littoral wetlands. It's all part of natural resources. That's what I went to college for. I love natural resources. But this particular one is my favorite so far because it is so close to the office. I probably get at least 10 different people a year that want to come and check out our treatment trains. And then they want you to take them through, show them where the water comes from, where it's being pumped to, where it starts out, where it ends up. And I end up driving clear over to Prairie Creek or Coldwater Creek to show them this. So there was a piece of property that was acquired, and it's right next to the state park, right there by the park office. So I'm really excited for this project. As you can see here, the top left picture, we started last fall. We dipped out of the channel or the creek that goes next to that project, and we also removed a whole bunch of autumn olive, Russian autumn olive, the invasive species, in preparation for this project. Van Tilburg's just finished up putting the intake in, which is the top right picture. I believe that was Wednesday or Thursday they finished that up. And then the bottom picture is standing close to the house there on 703, and just kind of a broad picture of what's there right now. Of course, nothing's growing yet because we haven't gotten any significant rains, but I think it's just an absolutely awesome project. Some projects done there at West Bank is a new ADA fishing dock. This is where the original one was out there that Rob Heckler built as an Eagle Scout project. The Division of Wildlife funded it. It's actually cantilevered. So Rob built it. It was there for 10, 15 years or so, and the wood was starting to go bad. The rec club went ahead and they took all the old wood off and put all new on, and I think it was less than a year later, we had a weird east wind when the ice was coming off, and it destroyed it. So the LIA and the rec club put a new one in, but they put it in over by the boat ramp, and there's still a huge need for the one back there. We got several, after we tore that out, we got several phone calls asking for the one there where Rob had it to be reinstalled. So I got with the Division of Wildlife, and we were able to get some funding and worked with Shin Brothers to get that rebuilt. And now it's all concrete and steel, and it's actually cantilevered over the water, so hopefully ice will never get it again. This is Justin Law from the right picture is Justin Law from the Division of Forestry. I don't know if you remember back in May, we had, same time this was going on, Division of Forestry and the Girl Scouts came over here at West Bank, just south of the boat parking, and we planted 1,200 trees. Here's some more improvements. The left picture is, we moved the approach for the dog park. It was on the south side, right off the walking path. It did create some problems for ADA accessibility. So we went ahead, I spoke with the Rotary, and they gave us some money, and we moved it to the west side next to the road. So we put a new parking lot there and moved the gates. That was another great project. And then the right picture is where we've moved the electric. So we have the electric right where the playground is. There's like a spaghetti factory there of electric. So we've moved some of that. And that's Byron and Morris. Byron, which probably many of you know, unfortunately, he has moved to Mercer County. Yesterday was his last day. Okay, now East Bank. So we were able to get some funding this year for doing some improvements at East Bank. We have upgraded all of the lighting in the shelter houses to LED with occupancy sensors on them, and even if they're on, they dim down to like 10% until they see somebody moving. So they'll be dimmed down for like half an hour after somebody leaves, and then if there's no movement at all, after about an hour, it shuts the lights off completely. So we did those, all 3 shelter houses at East Bank, and then the Villanova shelter house on the North Shore as well. Here's another picture of them and the really cool cornhole boards that the LIA purchased for the Sunset Beach area. And one of the things also is continued efforts for storm cleanup. We had 4 different storms this year that caused us to bring staff in, or myself or Rob, to remove branches or trees off the roads. It didn't, looking back, it doesn't seem like we had that many storms, but I guess they were, or that severe, just the way things worked out. Always trying new things. Sometimes it doesn't work. The picture on the left, it's called a Mega mower blade. They're like 10 times stronger, or the steel on it's like 10 times stronger than a normal mower blade. I thought this would be a great idea, and they break away. So if one of the mowers would hit something, it could spin back and it wouldn't bust the spindles on the mower or do a bunch of damage. They did not work at all. But it don't hurt to try. I do think watching how they mow and stuff for residential use, they would work real good. because you're not hitting things like bumper blocks and rocks with them. But that was our main problem, is they're so hard. When the guys would hit something with them, instead of just putting a chip in or a ding in the mower blade, it would actually take a great big chunk out of it because it was so hard. And then another one that I would like to start doing, instead of the memorial trees, and we're almost memorial benched out, is memorial swings. So I was up at Maumee Bay earlier this year, and I stole this idea from them. Of course, this is quite a bit more expensive, but the East Bank and the West Bank, we have some of the most beautiful sunsets and sunrises. It has to be in the state. And I think a couple of these on each side of the lake would be a huge asset. But we'll see. So far, I haven't gotten any takers on it. So part of Grand Lake is also the canals. So this is one of the capital improvement projects that's almost completed. Lock 23 was in the state of failure. So did a bunch of work up there, and this is the finished product. The picture on the left is the control structure that used to be completely exposed. People there in Delphus have actually beat the other one up to the point that you couldn't get the gate to seal. Every time we opened the gate, we'd have to go up in there and waders and pack in old rags to get the gate to keep it from leaking, because they had bent the stem and busted up the gate itself. So that's now enclosed and in concrete and locked. And then the picture on the right is the new spillway, which is now a couple feet wider because we don't have that gate and the structure that supports it there. Repaired 6 leaks. Some of these leaks were something you can just do with a shovel, like you see on the picture on the right. Other ones were, I think the one was about 200 linear feet of just little holes along the bank. And what we do then is we key it out, take all that dirt and pack it in against the bank, and then bring new clay in and pack that in at 6-inch lifts. Increased accessibility. This one I have fought for many years. We used to have great big signs that went across that. And the reason I kept those signs there is because we have a big problem with people going down through there with vehicles, 4-wheelers, and destroying the towpath. So eventually what we ended up doing now is we put some bollards in there, and they just have a lock. They remove the lock, and then it falls down, and then we can access it with trucks or mowers, whatever equipment. And just kind of trying this out right now, but we've installed them at Lock 14, Glenwood Road 219, and High Street in St. Mary's. Here's a little bit of dredge updates for you. So Brutus and the Hodag were running this year, and they removed a bunch of different trees around the lake. This picture is from over at Park Grand. There's a big pile of trees there. And they reclaimed one DMRA, the one there at Fry's, and they built another one over at on the east side of Prairie Creek Treatment Train. They also did 2 fireworks shows. And then here's some neat photos that staff have sent me over the past year. We'll go through those real quick. That's it. Thank you all. You have a great day. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, sir.
We had 4 dredges at one time. What's the status of it? Is there any other places or?
We've only had 3. Nope, we had 2 until they purchased the Hodag, and then the Hodag. That was the 4th one, or the 3rd one. I'm sorry. But we only had staff for 2. So just one of the things that the dredge crew is constantly working towards, and that's trying to get staffing. And I don't know, we'll see what 2026 brings. The economy's been good enough that we were having trouble finding staff. Yes, sir.
On that new wetland there with Red Wing Trail, are there any provisions for making or necessary to get that for the trail around that? Will you be able to walk around that?
Yes, they will be able to walk around it. The details on exactly what's going to happen, I don't believe are ironed out yet, but I am working with Teresa on that one. We hope to connect it to the Red Wing Trail. Any other? Okay, thank you.